There is no way I could have remained in legal practice and be who I am today. It's not possible. It's almost impossible to look at the Chief Justice of Nigeria and call him the corrupt man that he is if I was still going to be standing before a judge to say, my Lord. But that's the truth. So it was one of the sacrifices that had to be made, and it wasn't a very easy sacrifice to make in the moment. But I'm thankful to God today for your timely reminder and for the grace to walk away. I'm thankful to God for it.
Awesome.
You're right.
But Bradley, you've always been fearless. And you might be humble or coy about it, but I will tell you of another incident. You see, I consider myself very fortunate when I think of the people that I've had the privilege of being in their closet. And you're one of those people, because I have all these incidents with you. One day in 2013, we had lunch in Victoria Island, and then so we needed to dash to your office in Lekki 1 to pick up something and then return to VI, where you would drop me in my house then. And so we're approaching the toll gate, which had just come up at that time, and you refer to it as a monstrosity. So this is the Lekki toll gate, and there's a lot of traffic on the normal lanes that people without toll tags were supposed to take. And you instructed your driver. You said, go and take the part that is reserved for the VIPs who have paid the big money for the toll sticker, even though you didn't have any sticker. And I'm looking at you like, but they don't allow people past that place. You said he should go. And he got there, and the toll booth officer took a look at the driver and you and just waved you on. And before he did that, you paid for the toll, and then you gave him double the amount of the toll as a tip. And you told him, you know, and then we drove off. But now, then we're coming back an hour later. We're on the other side of the road. This time we're in traffic, there's no escaping it. And there's a military motorcade behind us, blaring their siren, and everybody is moving out of the way until they get behind our car. And you and your driver behaved as if they were not there. After a minute, I am sweating that, these military men will come down and deal with us. So I say, Brother Dele, will your driver not move? And you said, he knows. Oh no, man. If he moves out of that place, he's looking for new employment immediately. He dare not move. And for 5 minutes, they remain behind us blaring their siren. Your car doesn't move until they find their way out from behind you. That is unusual. That is, you're fearless. So first of all, let me even go back to that day. What did you think could happen in that moment? Because we've seen this kind of people come down to beat and victimize people. In that moment, what were you prepared could happen?
Thank you. Let me explain something to you. I am just as human as the next person. And I used to have quite a bit of fear in me as well, just like any other human being. To be frank with you, I really can't recall these incidents, but they are exactly who I am, and I would most likely have done exactly as you have described. However, let me give you a basis for who I became. I think it was in 2018. Yeah, just before my 50th birthday. I left my office, got home, and I had my favorite meal, pounded yam and egusi. And then I stood up and I fainted. For the first time in my life, I lost consciousness. I have had endoscopies done 3 times in my lifetime. I refused anesthetics. I've had colonoscopies done 3 times. I refused anesthetics. Basically because I'm always afraid that if I should sleep off, I will not wake up. But on this occasion, I lost consciousness after having had my best meal. So when I was revived, the abiding emotion I felt was anger. Serious, unadulterated anger. And I started questioning myself, why am I hungry? I wrote a piece titled The Day I Died. It's inside my first book, do not die in their war. I described what happened that day, and this is just to abbreviate for you. It was the anger that I didn't die fighting oppression. I didn't die trying to bring about a revolution in this decadent country in which I live. But I was simply going to die because I had pounded yam in my bedroom, the utmost peak of insult. So I learned from that day that it didn't matter what any man might do to me, as long as I am doing what I believe to be the right thing in the moment. So yeah, the soldier, what would they have done? They will come down and say that they must kill me for not moving out of the line in a space where I'm going to be paying toll gates, toll fees that I ought not to be paying in the first place. That toll gate is one of the most blatant expression of wickedness by the rulers of Nigeria. And it is instructive that that place became the scene of a massacre by the same soldiers that you're talking about. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I am prepared to die in defense of my right. It is not a function of some death wish, but the reality is that Vala Mogulis, every man will die one day or the other. So it is better that I died for something worthwhile, such as the protection of my right, rather than to die after eating pounded yam in right at the prime of my life. So it doesn't matter how a man dies, really. It is what you did with your life that really matters. So that's the way I view it. It's not like I don't have a spare life somewhere. It's not like I have a death wish either. But death is a reality with which we all live. And it's so cheap in our country. It's very, very cheap. You could die for simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You could die from eating pounded yam like I had pounded yam that day. Interestingly, the doctors found nothing by the time I got to the hospital. So I realized that it was God's way of reminding me that I needn't worry about man. I should be more worried about failing to fulfill God's purpose for my life. I am doing what I was purposed to do from the day I was created. That I make some people very uncomfortable with my deeds and my sayings, that's good. But question is, have I done what I was purposed to do? As long as that is the case, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks or says. So that's that as far as it concerns.
You hearken to the words and the sentiments of that great musician and philosopher whom we both love, Fela. It was Fela. Yeah, it was Fela that said in Sorrow, Tears and Blood that my people serve, they fear too much. We fear for the things we no see. We fear to fight for freedom. We fear to fight for happiness. I know one die. I know one go. Papa dey for house.
Papa dey for house. Mama dey for house. I won't build house.
Yes.
Look, even these days, even the one who can't build you can't even build a shed, does not want to die. Even when he's been oppressed, suppressed, violently put down, he still doesn't want to die. That's why our politicians run roughshod over us every day. They don't want to die. They are too scared to speak their minds. It's unfortunate, but that's where we are.
But okay, so the reality is that you have a family. You have a wife, you have kids, and usually they are the ones, again, as Fela said, they are the ones we think about. Oh, my kids are young, my wife is relatively young and all of that. And then it will be your wife that will not even be telling you, you want to make me a widow and so on and so forth. How does your family feel about this? I mean, I know them.
I am blessed to be married to the woman God had purposed for my life from the beginning of time. I remember when my first book was being launched, Do Not Die in Their War, and somebody asked pretty much this same question of my wife. How does she cope with this man? And my wife answered, I've never forgotten that response. My wife said to them, say, look, it is better to leave this man to be himself than to seek to suppress him, because if you seek to suppress him, he would implode, and the implosion will be even more catastrophic than to allow him to be himself and to speak his mind. I'm a man of peace. I'm not possessed of a death wish. I would love to live to a ripe old age in my dotage so that I can write the obituaries of each and every one of those who have wished me dead. But the fact of the matter is that the length of days do not matter. And I am blessed to be married to a woman who understands that I am fulfilling my purpose. If it is the will of God that I will die young, nothing is going to stop it. Whether I kept quiet and stayed inside the confines of my home or I'm creeping around, it wouldn't make any difference. Longevity is a gift from God. If it is a function of the way I have used myself, I should be long dead, but I'm still here. No, but that's the truth. I should be long dead. If it were to be a function of my own will, or if it was left to, okay, what do I want to count? The number of years during which I drank like a fish, the number of years during which I smoked, the times that I would drive at crazy hours of the day, go to crazy places. I was in Fela from when I was about 17 years old, almost twice in a week. There is nothing I have ever done to preserve my own life. It is God that has kept me alive. When some schmuck in Lagos State, headed by one of these bearded clowns, were busy planning my murder, it wasn't my power that stopped it. It was the grace of God that leaked their plans. I got to know of their plans. Your DSS in Lagos, they got a letter, the police got a letter detailing the names of the persons involved. Nobody was ever arrested or even, I'm not even sure they bothered to investigate anything. But I'm still here. So I'm not here by my own grace or by my own power. I'm here by the grace of God. So it is, I have lost all vestige of fear for human beings. My wife has learned not to worry ahead about me either. My children are young, yes. But do you know how many of my friends I have buried? People who are the most careful, some of them were teetotalers. The driver you're speaking of, God rest his soul, Yakubu, is late now. Yakubu never drank or smoked in his life. He never drank. Not a drop of alcohol ever entered his mouth, and he never smoked. He died of cancer. God preserves those he will preserve. It's very clear. He says, I will show mercy unto whom I will show mercy. It has pleased him to preserve me. Not a function of me being a good person. It's not a function of me being deserving. So I don't worry my head about what anybody might care to do or not do. I am comfortable in the knowledge that I am in pursuit of my purpose. And if it pleases God that I live long, I will live long, regardless of the machinations of men. And if it pleases him that my time is up, even if I like, let me go and wear the shell of a tortoise and not depart from my bedroom. Just like I didn't depart from my bedroom the day I finished eating pounded yam and egusi, and I almost, in fact, it's the first and last time in my life that I've ever lost consciousness. I could have died. If I was meant to die, I would have died. So that was more or less like a reminder of the fact that it's not a function of my own grace or my power that I am still alive, but the grace of God. So it's not something that engages my time in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't bother me. When the time comes, it comes. But don't worry, I'll be right here to write the obituaries of each and every one of those who want me dead.